80th anniversary for the company is coming up in 2026. And part of my proposal for that 18-month cycle, reaching out to presenters, is creating a series of residencies that connect the 80th anniversary and connect several different presenting organizations, several different commissioners, several different choreographers. So we're creating like this really big circular conversation that happens, that's nationwide, that's happening around the United States, with artists from Mexico, with contemporary choreographers that can be part of that story.
Bienvenidas, bienvenidos. Welcome to a new episode of the Escena Cross-Border webcast. Here we talk with performing arts professionals whose projects have amplified the artistic exchange between Mexico and the USA. We are pleased to welcome, bienvenido, Dante Puleio,
Hola.
who has led the Limón Dance Company as artistic director since July 2020. With a rich history with the company, Dante spent over 10 years as a dancer and participated in various summer intensive and master classes. Dante holds a Master of Fine Arts in Dance from the University of California and a Bachelor of Fine Art from the University of the Arts in Philadelphia. He also studied in the United Kingdom at the Laban Center in the Northern School of Contemporary Dance. Since 2006, he has been teaching dance and choreographing. Notably, he founded his own dance festival in 2008 and 2009. He has also explored musical theater and television, expanding his creative reach. Bienvenido, querido mío, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, muy bien, gracias. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being with us in Contenidos Artísticos.
You bet.
So let's begin the conversation.
Sounds good.
What impact has your dancing experience with the Limón Dance Company, we said already over 10 years, have had on your artistic vision as director?
Jose talked about if you danced his works, then you would know who he was. And I don't think I would be able to authentically lead this company if I hadn't walked in his footsteps or had some familiarity with who he was. Dancing in these works, you get an understanding of his empathy, his understanding of seeing something from many different sides, his understanding of hope and community, and his understanding of pushing the art form beyond what is into what it can be. So that was something I experienced dancing inside of the company. And those are the principles that guide my decision making, that guide who I bring into the company as a dancer, the artists, and the commissioned choreographers we work with, and how we operate as a group.
Exactly. We know that Limón was from Mexico, from Sinaloa. So that's why we think it's very relevant to have the company and to have Dante with us talking about the company, but also the different programs that you have as a company. And we want to talk for you, how relevant is it to you that the Limón Dance Company also stands out for its work with the community, with programs like Limón for Kids.
Oh, that was such a good lead in. Yeah, I think the model of just being in a vacuum and working by yourself is antiquated, or maybe not even antiquated is the right word, isn't it doesn't have the impact that is necessary in this day. In order for us to do the work we do, I think it's important to incorporate every generation, every demographic, everyone. I want to invite everyone into the conversation to be a part of what we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it. so I can start building the next generation of artists, the next generation of audiences, board members, creators, any aspect that the world needs in order for the arts to continue to breathe and live and expand. I want to make sure that they have as much of their hands and minds in the story of Jose Limon, because I think his story is so important that as many people that can be exposed to it is as many people that can be inspired by it. I came to dance really late, so I was playing catch up a lot in the beginning, and then it was when I really started investigating Limon technique that I was able to connect doing steps correctly to expressing myself as an artist and being able to find the momentum and find the expression inside of the steps. And it was really Limon technique that led me that way. And it took me out of a place that where I wasn't as inspired and really inspired who I was and who I could be. And so if I can give that to as many people as possible. So, we're really big in our Limon for Kids where we go into K through 12 and we teach them a little about who Jose was, his history. We teach a little technique. They learn a little bit of repertory. We give them the tools to make a dance on their own based on their experience. So they have this like really full immersive experience with grappling with who Jose was, and then they get to do it themselves. And then we also have programs like Limon Outdoors, where we will be at Bryant Park or in the on the piers at Harlem, and we will teach these outdoor classes for anyone who is there. So on Saturday mornings, all summer long, we'll have anywhere from 40 to 80 people doing these Limon exercises across the field, and you don't have to have had any dance experience, but now all of a sudden you have this understanding of breath and weight and falling through space, and that is Limon.
Yeah, such a great work you have during the summers with these
Mm.
open classes and open doors, and
And they're free.
they're free,
They're free.
by the way. That is wonderful for the community. Again, we are talking about how in different other webcasts with other colleagues about the how important the community is for our work. We cannot work without the community, right?
Yeah. Who's going to come see the show? Who's going to care unless they're a part of the story? We've
Exactly.
got too many other things to do in this world, so
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So working with the community is a key for keeping our work and the artists, and also is part of the mission I think we have as people who work in the arts and the cultural uh, in all around, So
got 'em.
about that, Limon for Kids, and last year, the Limón Dance Company celebrated its 77th anniversary with a performance at the iconic Palacio de Bellas Artes in Mexico City. Woohoo. Uh, but not just you guys perform in the Palacio de Bellas Artes in Mexico City. You also had a wonderful experience with Limon for Kids teaching there to a teachers, actually advanced
Correct.
teacher, right? So how important, and also you went to have another show at the festival, the Lila Lopez Festival in San Luis
Okay.
Potosí, which
Hmm.
is one of the most important festivals in Mexico, an older festival as well. So coming back home as a company, I would like to say that sometimes coming, bring the Limon work to Mexico again, because you have been, I mean, as a company, have been in Mexico many times. So how meaningful is that experience, not just for you, for the company itself, for the dancers, for the whole community?
Um, Thank you for asking that question. I think it's a really important question that has like a lot of branches that I kind of want to explore with you. So first, personally, I will say that it's a career highlight to be able to say that I was the director of the company when it revisited Bellas Artes for the first time in how many ever years. I had lost my mother earlier that year. So I was going, it was a very hard time. Obviously, I was going through a very significant mourning period. And then I had this moment of just like, beauty and like a career highlight to be able to be a part of this moment. And if that isn't the core of what the Limon technique and the Limon's and Jose's story is about, is
Exactly.
despite the despair, despite no matter what, there is this shining light of hope in no matter how deep and dark, there's always this pinnacle of light of hope. And that is the story. That is Jose's story. That is in the technique of fall and recovery. That is in the story of breath. It's it's like instrumental, elemental to what the story is. So to have been in the physical embodiment of experiencing such a level of despair inside such a moment of beauty and hope felt exactly the way it had to be. For the company to have had the opportunity to work with Raul Tamez, and the piece that Raul had made was referencing a piece that Jose had made called Tonancitla. And in the Jose work, he was really celebrating the beauty of the Mexican Baroque era. And for those of us who don't know, the Mexican Baroque era is a 300-year Spanish occupation of the area now known as Mexico. And so because of that, Raul took that story and looked at the underbelly of what that is, the other side of that story, and what the pain of colonization and immigration and ripping families apart and what that does to a community. In many communities, loss of languages, loss of cultures was an important first step for the company that I was directing to dive deeper into Jose's story and dive deeper into the realities of what the Mexican landscape looks and has looked and probably will continue to look like. So to have the company to have had that experience with Raul, to create this work that's Bessie Award winning, has traveled the world several times, and then land in Mexico and tell that story feels so important for Raul. It feels important for the company. It feels important for the legacy of the Limon story, and feels important as a starting point for where the company can continue to go from here. And having that opportunity, doing two shows back to back, packed houses, both of them, people standing on their feet at the end of them, was the story that obviously needed to be told. It was the inspiration that the dancers needed and that the audiences of Mexico City needed. And it felt like the whole project was lined with such purpose, and such intention. And the fact that it was paired with the Limon for Kids experience, where people are teaching how, they were learning how to teach Limon to their kids, it just felt like this really big, beautiful circle of Jose's Limon's story, his place in history, and his place in the future.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for saying in that way. I mean, I was about to say that for us, for Mexican people, for Mexican audience, having Limon with Raúl Tamés as a choreographer, it was so important for the dance community in Mexico, and for the audience, of course, and for the people like me, like my team and another colleagues that we work in the dance field as a producer or as a curator. It's so important to keep doing this exchange, and because of that, you lead me to my next right question, and is you already talk about Raúl, we who is a very important and creative and such a beautiful choreographer in Mexico. Um, but also there are other choreographers as well. And you recently saw the part of the work that Daniela Urias, which is also Mexican from Sonora, and she was in a residency in the with the Ballet Hispanico in New York. So would you mind to talk a little bit about the Daniela's, again, Raúl Tamés work as a Mexican choreographer, this new generation, let's say that way, this new generation of choreographers?
Yeah, I think it's important from my perspective and from where I sit. I'm really interested in meeting these artists where they are and get a deeper understanding of what they're saying and how they want to say it and why they want to say it. So that can be highlighted moving forward. When I went to Raul with the story, I was like, there's this, old Limón work, Tonancina, that we don't perform anymore. But I think the story is interesting. I've seen your other work. Is this story of interest to you if you wanted to look at it from another perspective? And he understood right away. He was like, yes, that is the exact story I want to dive into. So as a as a director who is interested in commissioning the next generation of contemporary choreographers, I want to tie their story and their work and their ethos to that of Jose's, but I want to find out, or I want to harvest from them what their natural connection is versus I want you to make a piece about this, or here's music, build a piece about this. So it's like, who are you? What are you saying? What do you want to say? How can the Limón Dance Company be a platform for your voice in a way that makes sense? So I think those are the relationships I'm interested in building or investing in to figure out like where we meet halfway so that we can build something new together. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, talking about choreographers, um, uh, last month, actually almost 2 months ago, uh, Dante presented with me. Thank you. Very thankful for that, Dante. During the Western Arts Alliance WA conference in San Diego, we presented this document, this work that we call Mexican Dance Landscape. This document, elaborated by Contenidos Artísticos, we presented in a move forward group of presenters from the USA and Canada who wanted to show them how big, how different, and how diverse is the dance landscape in Mexico, in order to bring more information to hopefully have more exchange in the future with presenters and companies, etc. So, how would you describe the contribution of this document? And more than the document, I would like to know your thoughts about just this landscape. You can see it in one document with just venues, festivals, choreographers, companies, which is very important when we are sharing, constantly this information. And sometimes, specifically in Mexico, we don't have. Uh, Sometimes we don't have that kind of data, you know. So for us, it's very important to share this data with everybody in the
Claro,
community.
claro. I think the fact, like you said it, the fact that it exists is the contribution. I wish I had that. I wish I had that for New York. I wish I had that for the United States. Like just one document where it's like, okay, these are all the things. I don't think anyone would even know how to find that information. I don't
Absolutely.
think any presenter in America or Canada or even outside Mexico, South America, wherever, would even know where to go to get a look at the choreographers, to get a look at the festivals, the intensive, to have the story all in one place so you have like a point of reference. I think is like the foundation, a really like an important building block to accumulating the interest to build from that. So you get the attention and the eyes on it, then people can engage with it so that it can be engaged with, so people know where to go and where to pull from. Oh yeah, let's figure out how to partner with this, and let's figure out how to work with this choreographer, and let's see if this will transfer over to this stage, and are these people interested in working with these people. And it feels like the fact that the document is in existence is the important first step to whatever can come from here, because without it, I'm not sure how people
Exactly.
would even know what to do, would even know where to start.
Exactly. And about that, um, as you know, Contenidos Artísticos, we are looking always for a collaboration exchange between Mexico and the United States for so many reasons, right? Um, that and because you went recently there, and we, because I was in the committee, so it was a process, you know, like who can contribute with the company to bring the company to
Say,
Mexico, institutions, etc. So you know already how is the experience to go through those institutions and that process. And you know that Mexico relied on public funding, while the situation in the United States is quite the opposite. So how can you imagine doing something or thinking about these differences can help us to do something in order to bring more options in this
oh,
kind of collaborations?
that's the
That's
million
the
dollar
hard one.
that's the million dollar question, isn't it?
I know.
And that's what I'm always looking at. In the past, I know that we've had issues where we were building a tour and then the government changed, so then all the funding got cut and then we weren't able to come, and that was like 2 years of building. And then, so how we can build something that sustains governmental shifts, and how we can sustain these shifts that impact where the money is going to come from and how it flows. I don't have the answer, but I do know that working towards figuring it out is the important aspect. So whether that is engaging with presenting partners inside Mexico and outside of Mexico, um, granting organizations, private funders that can continue to be invested in projects no matter what's happening in the world, I think are the three pillars that we need to continue to invest in. If we can have a series of Mexican and American or Mexican American philanthropists who believe in this work, then we're less likely leaning on these organizations or government funding. So, first, getting some of that work done, like really making those relationships, people who are interested in this, people who have the money to support this, really finding out what's exciting them. What artists are they excited by? What kind of collaborations would they like to see that they're interested in supporting? Because I think once that money starts to get generated, then it's easier for other entities to start getting involved with. Because once you have those couple of important people with a lot of money who love to support the arts, then they're connected with other people who are interested in contributing and supporting. So I think building some of those relationships really would be a key factor in getting the attention of everyone else.
Yeah, and keep talking about this, keep having this kind of conversation about
Mhm.
the importance to just exchange it. But sometimes it doesn't have to be the full company, like Limón or another company. It's just sometimes it's a choreographer, a student, a dancer, and producer, a curator. I don't know, just trying to keep this going and having this conversation is also very important for us, very
Yep,
important for our audience, but also important for our work that it continues and continues
yeah,
every day,
yeah,
building this bridge between Mexico and the USA.
exactly.
Thank you, Dante. You
You
want to
bet.
add something else?
Well, I was going to say, Le Monde's 80th anniversary for the company is coming up. in 2026. And part of my proposal for that 18-month cycle, reaching out to presenters, is creating a series of residencies that connect the 80th anniversary and connect several different presenting organizations, several different commissioners, several different choreographers. So we're creating like this really big circular conversation that happens, that's nationwide, that's happening around the United States, with artists from Mexico, with contemporary choreographers that can be part of that story. So I say that because I think that there is something about like shining a light with the support of several organizations and several um, different presenting partners in a way that like I'm creating something like bespoke and curated for each different presenter. So maybe one presenter, like you're saying, doesn't have enough for the entire company to show up for a 3-week residency, but they have enough for 1 or 2 dancers to work with a choreographer for a week. And maybe that
Exactly.
culminates in a showing. So this way I'm offering a variety of options to a variety of different organizations and artists to create something that benefits the needs of that benefits the need of that community and what they're able to support. So I think, yeah, the flexibility of how from what I can do, what I can offer. Like, yes, okay, I can send 2 dancers and a choreographer to that place, and you'll work for a week. I can send half the company over here for 2 weeks. I can send the full company, and we'll do a huge work to that place. So then I'm
Exactly.
able to create this really big circular conversation that's happening around, around the United States, and then hopefully around the world once all of that attention gets.
Yeah, that is a key flexibility. Just always look for new models, new ways to do to reach out a new audience, to reach out your old audience, to be close to your audience, and also to do a new work with the community. That is something like is very important. And congratulations, that's a huge project. Of course, 80 years is something like we need to celebrate.
See?
And you're gonna be the artistic director. So I'm so happy for you. Congratulations,
Thank you.
congratulations to the company.
Muchas gracias.
Y nos vemos pronto. Muchas gracias por acompañarnos.
Sí, también.
Gracias, Dante. Adiós.
Chao.